If there is one unelected body that has an even poorer forecasting record than Chris Whitty and Sage's COVID models, it is the Bank of England. And all this inflation we are seeing around us is transitory, it has repeatedly said. Oh, no, it isn't. And finally, it has raised interest rates to 0.25%, The Guardian reports. That is, with the official inflation rate over 20 times higher. Above 5%. Real inflation, the cost of living, buying a home and so on, is of course much higher than that. So a quarter-point rise is weeing in the wind, as the saying sort of goes. Now, I've chosen this story because though ostensibly interest rates is boring, there is a school of thought, to which I subscribe, that argues that so many of today's problems, from the inequality gap to this blob of a state which never stops growing, to the erosion of liberty, can be traced back to our system of money. Lenin, of all people, said the best way to destroy the capitalist system is to debauch the currency. So let's turn to you folks. Are you noticing inflation in your everyday life? How expensive are things getting?
Yeah, a big jump happened with the petrol, quote mark, shortage, and ever since then filling up nearly empties my bank account every time. But it's a bigger worry about gas prices because the fact that you don't pay for them on the day you use it, I don't really know what I've got coming down the pipes. Give me a few months, and when that bill comes in, it could be another reason why I'll be turning up here even more. Like having to put the work in, because, yeah, I'm definitely feeling the pressure.
Are you feeling the pinch?
Yeah, absolutely. My food bill's more expensive, my fuel bill's more expensive. Just everything seems like more inflated than it was before. That's where shops that are offering offers, I'm actually going to those, whereas normally I would have just bought what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Now I'm being more sort of sensible in where I shop.
I'm going to give you some stats, because I like some statistics. In 1970, the average house cost £4,000. Today, it's 65 times higher.
Wow.
£265,000. The typical car, Ford Cortina, cost 880 quid in 1970. Today, it's just shy of 30 grand, 32 times higher. Pint of beer, 33 times higher. Pint of milk, only 9 times higher. The average salary, 20 times higher. So things have appreciated at a far greater rate than salaries have. And if you go back to the 19th century, when gold was money, prices actually fell over the course of that century. So people's savings bought them more and more each year, whereas this time around they buy us less and less. And it's a terrible dynamic.
I mean, the only question I'd have, not to dispute, but to try and find out more and understand more, is why doesn't it feel that the standard of living has gone down by that much? Because what you've just described should lead to a worse standard of living.
Because human beings constantly evolve, we get better at making stuff, we find ways of making it cheaper. Globalisation has massively brought down prices.
But it's not cheaper. That's the thing that shocks me about that.
Well, we're earning more. There's more debt than ever before, you see, and a lot of this is paid for with debt. So even though, like Keynes, the great economist Keynes, thought we'd be working, I think it was a 15-hour week, because we get so much better at making stuff. And what he failed to foresee was the enormous rising cost of government.